Hello and welcome along to another episode of You're the Ref, which features Craig and Charlie attempting to be the referee in controversial scenarios. It is from and inspired by the book You Are the Ref, which has caused us a few difficulties along the way, but nonetheless it is a good book, so we will remain neutral on that part. Now each week these lads are picking a page number, and myself and Craig stay in matching shirts home and away from the 07-08 season.
A certain symmetry.
It wasn't a great season, to be honest.
It wasn't a great season. It ended in administration and relegation. But
either a great away day at Liverpool.
And a great away day, that's true. Wonderful Chinese at 11 o'clock at night. Got to get food in, Craig. On to today. Each time we pick a footballer or footballing personality who has three controversial refereeing scenarios related to them. We've got new graphics for this one as well, which is nice. We're getting very fancy these days. We are moving up in the world. So thank you, everyone, for your support. But today, Craig started by picking page number 102.
Yep.
And that is a modern great, you may say, in English football, because that man is current Chelsea manager, Frank Lampard Jr.
Oh, hello.
Good player.
So...
That's all I said. No,
interesting. To be fair, he had a fairly squeaky clean record, didn't he? So it's been quite interesting to see what scenarios he throws up.
He got sent off.
But generally, he wouldn't have really attributed. He's not in the same bracket as Roy Keane or something, is he? In terms of disciplinary.
No. Anyway, his red card wasn't a red card anyway. It was a bad refereeing decision.
Well, in contrary to what you two are saying, one of the images, the illustrations for these three pictures, features a man punching another man in the face. So let's just hold on that note.
Right, here we go. I like these. Let's go.
We'll move on to number one.
Who signed the book?
No, we're not doing who signed the book. It was Howard Webb, Craig, who mentions it every time that he signed the book.
It's a very important moment of the book.
More importantly, though, with these three scenarios, you've got to agree with referee extraordinaire Sir Keith Hackett. So, Craig,
you've knighted him now. You've knighted him. I tell you, there's some names I'd like to put before his name, and Sir isn't one of them. But anyway,
I'm hoping he'll stop suing us if we do that. Number one, we have three refereeing scenarios related supposedly to Frank Lampard. And here's the first one. In a Premier League game. There we go. We've got the sniff of Frank Lampard. Top level elite football again, okay?
Is this with a crowd?
It is with a crowd. But more importantly, you and your colleagues are wearing yellow tops and black shorts. Okay? Oh. Before kickoff, the away captain approaches you to point out that the home keeper is in an almost identical kit. So should change, in their opinion. But the home captain insists that it is their first choice kit and they should not be penalised because of you. He says you should change referee. What happens next?
Send him off. No, I'm joking.
Well, I think it's one of the few situations, Craig, where you can't get a card out. So I think that's...
Technically, you could.
Wow. Dan's eyes sort of widened when I said about not getting a card out, which makes you think we might need to get a card out. Anyway,
I honestly haven't looked at the answer.
On to the actual issue. See, colour clashes... there's a legalistic thing, which is that certain teams are meant to change, certain teams aren't. Surely the common sense thing is to change one man rather than three, or four even, potentially.
But we're talking about the home keeper playing in a home kit. Have we not got to worry about sponsorships and things like that as well, then?
Yeah, I suppose.
We're talking Premier League.
So I would assume, I'm going to jump in before Craig does, I would assume the referee must have a spare top, as in a different colour shirt. I assume they go to games with a purple one or whatever it is. So I suppose, do you know what it is? The egotistical part of me is a bit like, no, I'm not being told what to do by a footballer and I'm the referee. But I think, unfortunately, it might be easier for the reasons you say about sponsorship and stuff, actually, that maybe we should change. However, I think the keeper needs to maybe get his superstitions out of the way and be a bigger man and wear a different kit.
Craig?
Right, let's start from the beginning. To be honest, when you do your what's the word?
Team sheet.
That's the word. I couldn't remember, even though I've done it countless times this season. So when you fill out your team sheet, obviously you've got to have the colours of of the kit of what you're wearing, what the goalkeeper's wearing. What the outfield players are wearing, and what that goalkeeper's wearing. Yep. Now, obviously, they have their little meeting beforehand. The referees will check the team sheets for both sides, who's captain, who's the medical stuff, that stuff. So obviously they would have discussed it then, whether the goalkeeper should be wearing the same colour as the referee. So at that point, referee should say, right, I've got a spare set, I'm going to change, or the goalkeeper's got to change top. So for me, the goalkeeper's got to change the top. doesn't have to be the shorts and the socks because that's just silly. But at least the top, the top's got to change. Well, obviously, it's got not be the same color as the home team, and it's got not really be the same color as the away team. For the player that said you've got to change the referee, you've got to change the ref, tell them to do one. So no, even though it is the goalkeeper, basically the goalkeeper, and warn the player of you don't mess with me, all right?
Well, that might be the least professional answer that Craig Savage has ever given, and he's given a few. Let me tell you that. So
and book the player.
If in the answer that Keith Hackett has written, it says "Don't mess with me," Craig wins the episode outright. From the question one.
So to recap quickly, we've got Charlie saying that the referee should change kit, and Craig saying that the goalkeeper should change kit. Okay.
This could all been avoided an hour and a half before.
Well, Craig, in that sense, you're actually right, and that's alluded to in the answer. But unfortunately, you got the rest of the answer wrong, and Charlie got the main bulk right. So the point, I'm afraid, will go to Charlie.
No, I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. 0.75 Charlie got right, and 0.25 I got right. Just one second.
Yes.
So it's not a whole point.
Which means Charlie got more right.
It's not
so
a
he
whole
gets the
point, no.
Closest wins. So let's go through Keith's
What's the answer?
Let's go through Keith's answer. The home captain is right. You must change. You shouldn't have let it get this far.
I thought it was the away team.
No. The home captain.
Look at him going all like Soccer Saturday.
Bollocks.
Yeah, I know, Jeff.
Could you please let me finish my answer, Craig? You're not the star here. You've just given the wrong answer, I'm afraid. Now, you shouldn't have let it get this far. Before Premier League and Football League games, the manager and the captain of both teams meet in your dressing room. One of your tasks is to make sure there are no colour clashes. The law requires that all players wear colours that distinguish them from the officials. So you must change your kit. Craig, you have been too stubborn to be a top-level referee on this occasion.
To be honest, do you know what the problem is nowadays? Is referees have too many different colours.
So you're saying that if they just stuck with black and every other team didn't wear black, that'd be easier?
It would be an easy solution, to be fair.
Yes, it will be.
How that relates to Frank Lampard, I have no idea.
But why? Well, he's the manager. He feels the team cheating. He should know the colour.
Well.
Frank Lampard.
Let's move on to number two.
So, hold on a minute. Why this? As I said, this could have been avoided an hour and a half before, rather than in the tunnel. Just saying.
Yeah.
Are you finished, Craig?
Yeah. Move on to number two.
Let's move on to number two, which features the illustration of a man being punched in the face by another man.
Right.
Okay? Now, this is crucial. This is crucial. Two teammates clash heads and both players go down injured. Okay? You stop the game immediately. A physio tells you that one of the players has suffered a bad concussion and is clearly dazed and disorientated. However, before he can be properly substituted, he gets up and lashes out at the other player. What action do you take?
His own teammate he lashes out at.
It just says another player. The other player. So I'm presuming, I don't know. Two teammates clash. So yeah, teammate. Yeah, his other teammate.
So read the whole question again. I want to get this right.
Two teammates clash heads.
Right, okay.
Both down injured. You stop the game. The physio tells you one's got a bad concussion and will need to be taken off. But before he is substituted, he gets up and lashes out at the other teammate who clashed heads with him. What do you do?
I'll let you go first this time, Craig, because I went first last time, in the interest of fairness.
Well, first of all, it's violent conduct.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it's your own teammate or it's the opposition, or, well, it's violent conduct in the day, so you've got to send off the player who swung the punch.
Okay.
In the interest of making this competitive, I agree. However, you could argue that he was dazed and confused due to concussion, and the incident.
Yeah, you don't go. If you got a concussion, you don't go swinging people.
I think you should send him off. However, I reckon Keith Hackett's going to throw a curveball here. Due to the concussion issue, it's only a booking.
Okay, so we've got fairly clear answers from the two lads here, and again, there's sort of a combination of right and wrong. But this time it's the other way round. So Craig has got the correct answer on the field, but Charlie alluded to something which has been mentioned in the answer. So let's go ahead and look at what Sir Keith has said.
So 0.75 for me, 0.25 for you. We're level.
So there you go. So me giving a point to each of you each time is absolutely pointless. There we go. So, first things first, send the player off. Craig Savage is right. That's the answer. However, although he is guilty of violent conduct, after the game, the player could ask for a personal hearing, claiming he didn't realise what he was doing due to the concussion and being dazed. With any head injury, you must act quickly. Signal for the medics to come on immediately, and if necessary, duty doctors and paramedics. Where possible, keep other players away. In this situation, you'd have been able to keep other players back. The injured party would have had no one to hit other than yourself. It doesn't say other than yourself, but that would have been the case.
Good point, Nat. So what we're saying is we should have cleared the area when he was getting treated anyway.
Because when you have an injury, you shouldn't have someone too nearby.
That's a good point.
Craig Savage,
you've left another player. I don't know.
Sorry?
I don't know why he's swinging for another player.
He concussed, Craig.
Doesn't make any sense either. If you're concussed, you don't.
We've all been there.
No, we've never been concussed, thank God.
Has Frank Lampard been there? That's the question I want to know. But anyway, on to number 3, the final one.
Ooh, make or break.
In the closing minutes, a player already booked is substituted and walks off slowly to waste time. So obviously this was before the leaving the field at the nearest point of play, although that's barely happened this season. So we're basically at status quo. You tell him to hurry up, so he trots. But as he reaches the touchline and steps over it, he embraces his teammate for a deliberately long time. Gives him a nice big hug, in other words.
Ooh.
Okay.
Is he off the pitch by then? That's the question.
You've had enough. As you rush over to show him a second yellow card, you notice the replacement has already stepped onto the field of play. Can you stop the substitution retrospectively, is the question.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, very clear answer from Craig and no details.
Just
Charlie?
because, no, I'm going to say no, because he's really on the field. But you can still send the player off, but he can go straight down the tunnel and he won't.
I think this isn't as clean cut, and the reason I say that is
it depends where his foot is. So this could go to VAR.
But what I mean is, if he's technically had a second booking, then he's been sent off, and therefore the substitution can't be made.
But he hasn't been given a second booking yet.
No, but is that because you didn't run over there quick enough? So in your head, so what I mean is if you make a tackle and it takes time for the referee to get over to you, you're still booked for the tackle, even if you then stand up and punch someone. I suppose. I don't know. Right.
Well, Craig's answer was very clear, so you're going to need to be just as clear now.
Right. Okay. A, because I genuinely believe this to be the answer, but also because I think it makes a dramatic ending. I think, actually, genuinely, because you chose to send him off, even if you didn't get the card out, you chose to send him off. Because I remember, actually, going back to one of our podcast episodes, where someone blew up for a free kick in his head because his false teeth fell out. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And he brought the goal back for a free kick because, although he didn't actually blow the whistle, he intended to. So, for that reason, the fella gets sent off, no substitution. Because the referee had made his mind up to send him off, even though he hadn't, even though he stepped off the field of play.
Okay, so we've got Craig Savage.
No.
We've got Craig Savage saying substitution, but then you can still send the player off afterwards with his second yellow. And we've got Charlie saying that you're still sending the player off with his second yellow, but the substitution cannot happen. Okay?
Correct.
This is the moment. It's the decider. And I can confirm that this week's winner is Craig Savage. Because so Craig's going to be an arse for the next couple of minutes, but bear with me. Okay? So no, you can't stop the substitution once the player steps onto the pitch. The substitution is now complete once you have given permission. The player has left and the sub has come on. However, as Craig rightly says again, you can still take disciplinary action. As well as giving the departed player his second yellow card, you should also consider bringing the incoming player in for his first yellow card because he also played his part in delaying the sub.
Well, unless he's been
Craig, you didn't give enough yellows.
Yeah, but the problem is, yeah, I'm gonna defend the player for a second. Not the player that's been sent off. He can go. But how if he's been bear hugged? How's that his fault?
You'd be strong enough to push him off. No, he knew what was going on.
Oh, come on, you know.
It only said consider, Craig. You can make the judgment based on the nature of the hug.
Me personally, I wouldn't have booked the player that's been hugged.
Which is very unique for you. So
yeah, so I'm like.
I booked the other player for hugging. You have to go.
Well, I can confirm after that Craig Savage has stolen this episode by 2 points to 1. With your 0.75 or whatever, it still would have ended 2-1. So that's the important bit. Unfortunately, none of those I don't think had anything to do with Frank Lampard, but there were some lovely illustrations, including the punched face. So we do appreciate that. And that is it for this episode. Craig Savage is the winner. Thank you for giving different answers for the value of entertainment. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, please put a thumbs up on it. Check out all of our interviews and other content in the eye above. Craig Savage is doing some lovely pointing, not realising he's on the wrong side of the screen.
I can't tell where I am in the screen. I'm not going to lie. There or there. Don't matter, but click on the eye above.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll have regular content here. And thank you very much for watching. Fingers crossed we'll see you next time.